historically, one company, there's two main companies, CMEX and Joe, if I'm not mistaken, that always bid. And one always loses because they charge us, they all charge travel. And one is located, 10 miles, let's say, farther than the other. So although they're very competitive, that mileage always makes them lose out on the bid because they'll charge us per trip. And, they make a lot of trips to Socorro because of our fee. So I know historically one always loses out because of the travel time that they have to include in their price. And, one's just located on the east side, the one's located on the west side, for instance. But there is a concern that if, and I think that just needs to be addressed, if we haven't broken the confidentiality, then I don't have no problem with bidding it out. But if we haven't, then there should be a concern that competitors have a price of, because then that would make an unfair advantage. So I would feel more comfortable having staff, because I know our city clerk handles that, yes. So our city clerk would be able to tell us, and unfortunately she had a family emergency with her son. So I would appreciate it maybe if we tabled this and allowed city staff to go back and do we have the opportunity to table it, Mr. Wallace?
Yes, you do.
Motion to table.
Second.
Motion to table by Gloria Rodriguez, seconded by Jesus Canada. Willie Madrid.
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Jesus Canada.
Yes.
Motion.
Item 26, discussion and action on awarding heavy equipment bid. Mr. Murphy?
On this one, the city attempted to bid out a large dump truck as well as a backhoe tractor. We did not receive any bid for the dump truck, but we did receive a bid for a backhoe tractor. The backhoe tractor is one of the biggest pieces of equipment that we have that we use for virtually everything. The one we currently have is almost on its last legs. We keep it going, obviously, but this represents an opportunity to have an enhancement over the public work equipment. I think that's one of the areas where we have a lot of neglect on equipment, and this is an opportunity to start upgrading the equipment. I think our still number one need is a dump truck, which we will keep seeking to get one, but this is only on a backhoe tractor at this time.
And the price is okay?
Yes, it is. In fact, it's almost half our estimate that we use at budget time.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Gloria Rodriguez, seconded by Willie Madrid. Willie Madrid.
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Jesus Canada.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Item 27, discussion and action on selecting a telecommunication system for Rio Vista Courthouse. Mr. Murphy?
This one I'm going to defer to Mr. Garcia, our public information officer.
Mr. Garcia.
Mayor Pro Tem Council, I'm David Garcia, your Public Information Officer. I think all of you received complaints on a phone system in Rio Vista. I have pulled wires out of here that are 51 years old. So not only is the infrastructure that supports our phone system in the need of repair, but the actual phone system itself. There's no way to hook up voice answering on these phones. There's no way for me to pick up a phone in someone else's office. The system is not necessarily archaic, it just was purchased at a very low price quite a few years ago and installed in a very old system. So the need for upgrade is very, very obvious, and I would say a 10 on a scale of 10. There are two options before you. One, which is by Presidio, which is a more expensive program, which will basically put us into the 22nd century. It uses technology that very quick is voice over internet protocol, meaning that there will be one wire from the telephone and the computer to a trunk. In other words, the computer will hook up to the phone will hook up to the trunk will go out to the internet. It'll be very advanced in that new things can be hooked up to it. Credit card recognition, voice recognition, you can tell it to turn on if we buy that hardware without touching the button. It basically moves us into the next era of telecommunications. And then under the instruction of Mr. Northey, we are replacing one generation newer with the second bit. It's substantially lower. We do go one generation more. However, it does run two wires, one for the internet, one for the voice. It does not use internet protocol, and it basically just upgrades the system we have now. We'll be able to get voice answering, we'll be able to do truncated answering, which will mean one person can answer the phone for everybody. We'll be able to add lines, especially with the advent of perhaps renting some space here. We'll be able to add up to 24 lines. So basically, before you and up for your discussion, and I'm here to help in any way in facilitating the decision, is do we jump to the 22nd, or do we make what we have better? That's truly your options before we write.
I know what I want.
Are we looking also in providing this type of 21st century technology to Texas A&M also, who are already moving in? I went and saw the offices, they already have some of their equipment there, and I don't know if they're hooked up or not, but the thing is, I'd like to know if they're going to be.
Both will support Texas A&M. One, as I said, will allow expansion, but all have 48 phones. Both systems are parallel as far as what they can provide today. The Voice Arena by Presidio will allow you to do more as your expansion grows. For example, for an antenna that we buy with the Presidio system, we'll be able to hook up RBS with it, the police station. For another antenna, we'll be able to hook up the community center with the same system. So it's just a more adaptable system for us.
And how far do those antennas, can they do the work? Is just in the immediate area, or do they have a distance capacity?
The Presidio, through a cable, internet protocol, will be able to hook this up to admin if you like, or Puna, or Child.
So we're looking at a cable, not an antenna.
No, sir, it is not cable, it is a protocol, it is not provider. It uses the same code words. It'll still be over a wire, still be provided by AT&T, still be provided by a hard hookup. But the code it's using is internet code, so that when it does get bigger, we'll be able to make the jump.
I have three proposals here. I have Presidio and LaserTech, and then I have AST.
LaserTech is really not one of my recommendations. LaserTech will basically replace exactly what we have, but it will not necessarily accommodate a Texas A&M type jump, or a jump that will also accommodate the community center or the police station as well.
So your two recommendations are all systems
Yes, sir.
for Presidio,
Or Presidio.
with Presidio being.
Presidio is the top of the line, Representative Gondola. There is no communication system out there that is better than the Presidio system for the setup we have here. It allows us to antenna the four buildings together. Now, whether or not it's a different provider for a different price, that's a different thing. But the technology is the top of the line technology. Pardon?
Difference in price.
Massive difference in price.
44
44,000
for Presidio.
for Presidio and 17,000, 20,000 for it. Now, remember, both of those include rewiring the building. The $10,000 it will take to rewire the building is a go no matter who you buy. The building wires are just not there anymore. We have a 1 1/4 inch conduit, and we can't run another line through that. So there's just.
And what do you recommend again, Mr. Garcia?
Again, I would, of course, as a technician, I'd love to see us using the Presidio, because it's one line, one system, the highest tech, the highest technicians. We're going to move all the brackets into one room. We're going to be able to hook up RBS and RBCC whenever we want to spend the money to hook up the antenna. So that, by far, is a great system. But if we want to be frugal and want to understand that maybe that comes in the next growth pattern, then, of course, we need to get into the 21st century with the digital system that's proposed by the ATS.
So they, City Hall, that's not integrated into the system?
Either of the two systems can be integrated with City Hall. The difference would be, if we get the Presidio system, Rio Vista will host City Hall. If we get the other system, the Panasonic system, the new City Hall will host the Panasonic.
That's what I'm concerned about.
Either one will be integrated. Just one will be hosting and one will be the slave, a master slave agreement.
What's the warranty on these as far as systems going down?
There's a 5-year on the hardware, and if you look into them, they each include a 2-year maintenance contract that we get with the accepting of the program.
With the price?
With the price. And we really kind of need that, especially with the VoIP or the Presidio one, because the technology is at a different jump. That one really is, that's a different jump. We're now going into digital phones rather than the usual.
My question on that is, can we handle the upkeep? Do we have this gentleman that's doing?
Gary? For 2 years, we don't have to really worry about that because it comes with warranty that Mr. Gonda asked for. After that, it looks like the technology will be such that it'll probably be pretty commonplace. Right now, we can do it because it's used being in computers, but we've never had any experience using it on the phone lines, which is why I recommend taking the 2-year program.
No,
with the purchase.
yeah.
Now, with the other one, the Panasonic, we have the technology to support that right now.
I do like I do appreciate your presentation that basically says, look, you can be the best, or you can go the second tier.
We can take one.
I'll make a motion to approve Presidio.
Second.
Motion made by Trustee Gamera, seconded by Ms. Rodriguez. Willie Trip,
Yes.
Gloria Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mrs. Gamera.
Yes.
Motion
Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. We have item 28, discussion and action on certificate of appropriateness to demolish dilapidated building structures on lot 9 and 10, block 3, Algodón subdivision, city of Socorro, Texas.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. This is a request for a certificate of appropriateness on a demolition of a property, dilapidated property, actually. This is the property located at the intersection of Moon Road and Socorro Road. This is a request by the property owner. According to the information we have, the property is currently vacant, and according to the owner, it has been used by homeless and vandal people without his permission, with the consequent responsibility for him for an accident. Therefore, in order to avoid any possible incident and also to create a more appropriate use for the historical district, he is requesting a demolition permit to clean the property in order to develop a historical project in accordance with historical regulations. It is important to mention that this project is not related to our demolition by neglect proposed ordinance that the city of Socorro is working on right now. And this is a private initiative. The intention of the owner is to create a new development, a new project, a new historical design.
What's the property zone as? What's the property zone as?
Is R1.
What project is it going to develop? Do you have any idea?
Well, I don't know if the owner of this property is present.
Can we see the street view on this?
Yes, sir. He's thinking in a commercial business. We don't have internet right
Excuse me, I'm sorry, this is across from the church?
now. That is correct. It's
Jerry,
across to
The
the
map.
That has
cemetery.
been, and I still approve, I don't know how long, but I hope we do.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Rodriguez, seconded by Jesus Gamera. Willie Trip,
Yes.
Gloria Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mrs. Gamera.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Rooney. Item 29, discussion and action on certificate of appropriateness on commercial signage on lot 29D, block 16, Socorro Grant subdivision.
This is now a certificate of appropriateness to install a commercial sign on tract 29D, block 16, Socorro Grant, city of Socorro, Texas. The property is located at 9949 Socorro Road. Hold on. At approximately 500 feet northwest of the intersection of Moon Road, Wind Road, and Socorro Road. The intention of this project was to install this commercial sign. And at the time of the presentation before the Historical Development Commission, he presented this. And the Historical Development Commission didn't accept they were not in agreement with the top portion of the sign. And at the time of the meeting, I made some informal draft. And they accepted the pedestal. They asked me to make make a modification on the top portion of the sign. So I created this, and I did discuss it with the property owner, just to make sure that he's in agreement with the construction. And this is what we came up.
I make a motion to approve the Historical Landmark Commission's approval based on the modifications suggested by the Planning and Zoning Director.
Second?
Motion made by Jesus Canada, seconded by Gloria Rodriguez. Ms. Madrid?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Jesus Canada?
Yes.
Motion
Okay.
passed.
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Thank you.
Item 30, discussion and action on Employee Appreciation Day, State of Affairs in the City of Socorro on February 2nd, 2013.
Motion to approve?
Motion made by Jesus Canada, seconded by Gloria Rodriguez. Lee Madrid?
Yes.
Gloria Rodriguez?
Yes.
Jesus Canada?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Item 31, discussion and action on the City of Socorro night at UT El Paso.
Mr. David Garcia once again.
Mr.
Good
Garcia.
evening, Council and Mayor Pro Tem, David Garcia, your Public Information Officer. I don't know how many of you were able to make the Sun Bowl this weekend, or this week rather, but the City of Socorro was officially welcomed at the site on the scoreboard with the Seal of Socorro and a announcer welcoming the support of the City of Socorro. We are now making inroads and trying to bridge a communication with UT El Paso and their program on the, was it the 19th? On the 19th would be Socorro Day at the Special Event Center in Don Haskins. The 5 of you, Mr. Norfleet representatives, or a 5th representative, would be asked to appear at halftime and be presented a game ball by the coaches and athletic director of UTEP. This will be the first time the City of Socorro has ever been asked to support or ever asked to be part of a UT El Paso function. So I would really like you all to consider the $1,800 it would take, a cumulative, not $1,800 each, but the cumulative $1,800 it would expense to buy the 25 tickets and promote the city at a UT El Paso basketball game against, by the way, my alma mater, SMU.
I like to see the picture of your.
Yes.
They're gonna play SMU?
The play SMU 2 o'clock. It's a nationally televised game as well.
Well, that's a lot of kudos for the city.
Oh, yeah. It really is. Roughly the $440 represented. And if you authorize Mr. Norfleet, we can investigate into spending hotel motel monies as a promotion for the city outside the city limits as well.
Are we not able to get this?
I don't know.
Motion to approve.
Actually, can we have something a little more specific, Ms. Rodriguez? Like
Motion to approve
the event and expenditure?
Yes. Motion to approve the City of Socorro night at UT El Paso
And expenditure funds.
on January the 19th.
And expenditure funds.
And the expenditure will be $1,800 for $140 each.
Actually, I would prefer that you not put, because if it goes over $10, he's got to come back to council and get that $10 approved. So if we could just put expenditure funds.
Okay, and the expenditure funds.
And to let you all know, if you wanted to take additional people, perhaps constituents or people from your area or workers, the tickets will be $12.50, which is a half price ticket for any more we wish to buy.
I'll second that.
Okay. Motion made by Ms. Rodriguez, seconded by Jesus Canada. Lee Madrid?
Yes.
Gloria Rodriguez?
No, yes.
Jesus Canada?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia.
Thanks, Howard.
Item 32, discussion and action to call special election to fill vacancy in office.
Okay.
Yes.
I make a motion to adopt an election order scheduling a special election in the city of Socorro to fill the vacancy in the office of mayor on the 11th of May, 2013, and to authorize the city clerk to post and publish notices as required for said election.
Second.
Motion made by Jesus Canada, seconded by Gloria Rodriguez. Lee Madrid?
Yes.
Gloria Rodriguez?
Yes.
Jesus Canada?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Item 33, discussion and action to call special election on funding and taxation for Socorro Fire Department.
And we would ask that you move that item until after the closed session if you're not discussing.
Motion to move the item until after